Hi, and welcome to the Goat Rodeo Fiber Fiesta podcast, the only podcast that doesn't include goats or rodeos, but lots of fiber. I'm Nancy, I'm your hostess. I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan. This is Michigan. Don't forget the UP, excuse the arm thing. I'm 52 years old, the mother of 4 special needs kids, 2 adopted, 2 made the old-fashioned way. A surprise and shock, they came after the old-fashioned way. And it is April 1st, and I'm opening my store at 6 Eastern Daylight Time tonight, which I didn't mean to open the store and start the podcast in the same day. Honestly, it wasn't going to be like that. This isn't about the store. I mean, obviously I'll mention it at the end, but this is about my love of fiber and knitting and where it came from and all of that good stuff. Where can you find me, you ask? Because obviously I'm so talkative and chatty. I am. All right. I'm N-L-I-E-D-E-L on Ravelry. And yeah, that's my last name, Liedl. I'm N-A Liedl, L-I-E-D-E-L on Instagram, where I'm currently inactive. However, this morning I got my own anniversary gift for myself. See, the truth is, I'm a Luddite. I am not filming this on my iPhone or my anything. I have a camcorder and I have a landline. And I bought this, which is not the biggest, the bestest, and brightest, but was on sale and has the right megapixels. I need to get over my cell phone phobia. And I mean, I use one rarely, but I need to make it like more of my life. So I got myself a cell phone in HTC, and it apparently has the right megapixels for Instagram. It's kind of sad. It was just a good anniversary gift for myself. My other phone literally was the kind that slid out with the, yeah, it was an old phone. It wasn't a flip phone, but it was just one step removed. I feel like I've come into the 2000s. Unfortunately, it's 2016 now, and I'm back in 2006, but that's okay. It's okay. So, anyway, this is a podcast about knitting, very horrible hand spinning when I do it, and sewing, which I do well. I've been sewing since I was very young. I remember at 4, my mother bought her first Singer sewing machine, and she was a really good seamstress. She made the most beautiful clothes in the 60s and 70s. She eschewed the whole faux fibery poly of the time and the Mrs. Brady pantsuits for just beautiful silks and things she got when she traveled. She traveled a lot. And she got me into sewing slowly, and I'm never going to be the seamstress my mother is. And then my mother-in-law, Anne, is a phenomenal seamstress, and she's the least phenomenal seamstress in her family, and she's fabulous. So it's like knitting sort of felt natural to me, except that I was told I could never knit. I was diagnosed when I was 7 years old with hyperactive disorder, which is now ADHD, and it does exist, and I have it, and I've had it for a long time. I was told I will never touch type nor will I knit. So now I'm a writer, and I use pseudo. Don't worry about that. This isn't about my writing. And I dye yarn, and I knit. So some part of me is like, don't tell me I can't do that. I'm going to do it. So the first thing I want to do is tell you that you can find the show notes in the down bar. Also a link to my podcast page, which is goatrodeofiber.com. The shop is Liedl Fiber Art, or LiedlFiber.com, excuse me. L-I-E-D-E-L, Liedl, German, fiber.com. Liedl Fiber Art, not Arts, is the name of the business, which will come later. So, in today's episode, I'm going to thank a boatload of podcasters for just being there. They don't really know I exist, but I know they exist, and they're all the ones you watch. I have other ones too, but if I listed every podcaster I like today, this is in no particular order. We'd be here all day. You don't want that. All right. Then we're going to talk about what I'm finished, what I'm working on, sewing, enhancements, ubiquity, which tea I'm drinking as I reach for it. There will be some shop update notes at the end, and a little blah blah about what's happening in Ann Arbor this weekend. Yeah, typical podcast. So I am thirsty, so I'm gonna go for my tea, and I'm like Kristen from Foolin Yarns, who I'm going to talk about a lot because I admire her a lot, because I wish I had known more about myself, as much as she seems to understand herself when I was her age. I'm 52 and I'm just figuring it out. She sent me this Spice Dragon Red Chai, caffeine free from Stash, along with an order of mine that I've been waiting to show off forever. I only dragged out, I got one base that now she no longer carries, and one was just a colorway she was playing with. So I only dragged out one. But it's in my giraffe mug. I love giraffes. My husband got this for me as a gift, as a surprise, and it was very thoughtful of him because he's not always like bringing presents kind of guy. He changed diapers. I'll take that. Thank you. My children are almost 19, almost 17, literally within a month, almost 13, and then 11 and a half. They all have special needs. Tourette's, born with, well, this was one of my adopted children. He was born with addicted to everything. And then I have an autistic child, a child with autism. And my other one has dyspraxia. If you don't know anything about dyspraxia, it's often accompanied with severe ADHD. He's got fine motor dyspraxia. He can't hold a pencil at 11. But he's an awesome person to talk to. He's like the smartest person I know, and I can have really in-depth conversations about the planets and the solar system and weather fronts and how El Nino is affecting us now, and yet he can't hold a pencil. That's just JJ. So, you know, I work from home, dyeing yarn, and it's been a great joy for me. I mean, writing was fun and I loved it. I'm glad I'm a published author. I write naughty romance, but it got a little naughtier than I wanted to write it. That's what they would like now, and I just can't go there. I've tried, I can't. And I'm not embarrassed about it. I don't want to embarrass anyone else. So my nom de plume remains my nom de plume. I have some articles published there myself, and I know other people have found me by just looking around enough on the internet. And if you want to go stalk, go stalk. Have fun. Stalk away. Stalk. I hope you have something better to do with your life than stalk a 52-year-old broad on the internet, but as you will. Okay, so about those podcasts that I'm watching and enjoying so much that everybody else is also watching and enjoying, and I want to apologize for my stuffy nose. Sniff. And this brings me to my first podcast. Laura Jimenez Jinx from Jinx Yarns, because she has so many allergies, that poor thing. I just sympathize with her. I never had allergies until a few years ago, and it seems like I hit my mid-40s and wanga! So I love her podcast, The Dyer's Notebook. It's just awesome. I love her yarn. I can't wait till she puts out Gingerbread House again this fall. I'm going to stalk that shop until I get that yarn, because I couldn't get it last year and I wanted it so bad. Really, Laura, if you know I'm listening, just, you got it. I'll do anything. I'll sing your praises. I'll show you a world map made into something awesome. I have it. I just haven't made it into something awesome yet. I will. Let's see. The Fawn Knits. She just started dyeing and she's awesome. I'm just incredible. I've been dyeing for years and I just now have the nerve to like start my shop. But she's just awesome. I'm so proud of her. I don't even know her and I'm proud of her. I feel like, oh, so proud of you. Kristen from Yarngasm, obviously. I love her. I love her yarn. I love the Grosh for Girls. FO and Die crack me up. I wish I could get my husband to do a podcast with me. He doesn't talk as much as I do. Just saying. Danny from Little Bobbin's Knits, and Little Bobbin, of course. Her dog, so adorable. I also love the Freakish Lemon. She got me addicted to corgis. I've always been a dog person. I used to raise St. Bernards growing up. We had 3 at one time. That was not my choice. My father lost his mind, and we got 3 St. Bernards and raised them, and we had them all their lives and loved them dearly. Most recently had a husky we just lost a couple years ago, and it still feels like a fresh open wound. Manny Nana was my, Jessie was another dog that was very close to my heart. Manny Nana was my Siberian Husky, who was my running buddy. And are you running with a wolf? I mean, more people would stop me. Always chewing tobacco. I don't know why. But the answer is, yes, I'm running with a wolf. Siberian Husky, man. Wolves don't look like this. You're watching too many Disney movies from the 50s. Let's see, Fluffy Fibers, Isabel. She's about to go from 1 to 2 children, and she's about to find out that going from 1 to 2 children is like jumping the Grand Canyon on a tricycle. But Isabel, when you go to 3, if you do that, no biggie. You got it down at that point. 3 kids is no big deal. 2 kids seems like a giant leap, because all of a sudden you go from 2 parents on 1 kid to you're equal in number, and then you're outnumbered. That's a little scary. It's fun though. I wouldn't trade a second of it. Mandarins podcast. Nicole from Hugh Loco, again, another amazing dyer I've watched just grow and just come out, and just so fun to watch. And her dye lessons are so neat because they don't give away all of her secret sauce, and yet she shares good information. So I love that, and I love the information that Laura from Jinx Yarn has been sharing too. Just fabulous about masks and things I just are so important, because you know you should be using that with dyes, even natural dyes. Maria Monska of Stitched in Sweden, or Sverige. And I'm going to butcher her name terribly. Smuljan. She's in Jönköping, Sweden. And I hope I pronounced that right, Jönköping. My last name before I was married was Lindqvist, so I'm adopted, so I'm not all Swedish, but my father is very Swedish, and we still have family in Malmö, so every now and then I do actually get to Sweden, so it's kind of fun. And that's it for this week, but I especially love listening to Smoljan. It's a podcast because she's a singer and a knitter, and I'm a singer as well. I've done a lot of things in my life and enjoyed it. So I love listening to her, and she's so honest about who she is and stuff. I showed you the tea. This is the second time recording. The garbage truck went by and it was very loud, so I had to re-record. I really couldn't get around it. So we're going to start with the finished objects, and I need to tell you, I have never exactly followed a pattern in my life. I have so many patterns, and I love them, and I'm always getting new ones. Mandarins is coming out with a new one. I cannot wait. I'm going to get it tonight. I'm so excited. I favorited it, and I'm like, but don't put me in the giveaway because I want to give you the money for it because it's too awesome a pattern. This is one, and I do not remember the person who designed this shawl. I will put this into my, it's in my project page on Ravelry. The heater's about to come on. I don't know why. It's almost 60 out. This is my sort of a campsite shawl. I really like the spine in, I don't like make one rights and lefts at all. Prefer my yarn overs. I'm like Stephen West. It's my favorite way of making an increase is a yarn over because it leaves a lovely lacy hole. Although his lace brioche thing I'm a little scared of. But this is my sort of campsite shawl, and I did this in my colorway Ice Queen. I named it after a character in one of my husband's favorite television shows and book series, which is Game of Thrones. I can't get into it, but my husband loves it, so I'm not going to deny him that. And I had extra yarn left over, so I knit myself a hat, and this is just my design. And I should probably look this up on Ravelry. I made my hat a tie-in hat, or my pom-pom tie-in, because I didn't want to wash it like this. So it's a very floopy pom-pom. It's huge. I used the largest pom-pom maker Clover makes. And it needs a haircut to be perfect. But one of my children is in cosmetology school. He's the only guy, lots of girls. He's a very happy boy right now. Although I think they're turning him into some sort of a pet. I'm not sure. He's like their mascot or something. But he's very good at it. So I'm going to make him trim my pom-pom. I'm also going to make him color my hair this weekend. And then I think that's it for finished objects. I finished in the most recent past. I don't want to go too far back. So let's talk what's on my needles. Oh, I have more finished objects. I'm sorry. This will not win the prize for best box, but this is my box for my box of socks knit along from Kristen from Yarngasm. Yay! I got it at Staples. Didn't have her box there, but I didn't want to like steal her idea anyway. And there are other pairs of socks. One pair is on my feet, and I'm not sticking my ginormous size 10 foot in front of the camera for you to look at my socks. They're just a 2x2 rib, which is my friend Julie, who's Julie got us on Ravelry. She also dyes fiber. She got me into this insane business, only she doesn't like dyeing yarn, and I like yarn, not fiber. So we complement each other very, very well. So I have, right now, I have one pair on my feet, one pair in the laundry, 3 in the box that I finished this year. These, I have yet to weave in the tails. I guess maybe I shouldn't count them as done. They're sort of a made it up as I go pattern. I use the Fish Lips Kiss Heel from Socks Therapist, and it's SOX on Ravelry. I do the purl slightly different. If you go to the site, if you go to Ravelry and you look up Socks Therapist and you look up the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, there are people that give you advice and help, and very helpful help. And her pattern is $1. Socks Therapist is a delight when she's online, and she's not online as often as she wants to be. My understanding is she has cancer. My heart and soul are with her. I have some dear, dear friends who have gone through that fight. You know, you have a chance to get the pattern, do it, because, you know, that'd be great. I sort of have the same problem that Mina from the Knitting Expat. Mina! I forgot about you and Hugo and your other kitty, but Hugo's the one we all know about because, you know, the stash dive he did the other day. And yesterday I watched your podcast where he did his little stash dive into your stash. You know, if you didn't close the door when you went out of town, that cat would be in there and it'd all be down when you came home, right? Yeah. I'm sure you closed the door to that room, your craft room. And I'm currently sitting in my formulary where I do my sewing and I do all my dye prep work and some of my dyeing. The stuff that I don't put on the stove in my metal big stainless steel pots. I have other heaters that I can put out here. Then I have this pair. I'm almost embarrassed to show this pair. I mean, I just finished these a couple months ago and I had enough yarn to make 2 pairs, so I've got another pair that's one of the pairs that's in for the wash. My husband put these in the washer. He's here today because I'm opening the shop and he's getting everything ready. And he felted them, but they fit perfectly and they didn't shrink, they just sort of smooshed together. This is Dream in Color, Smooshy with Cashmere, Canary Cape, and for some reason I had the wild hair to get 2 skeins of this color that looks horrible on me, and I never thought I'd use cashmere in socks. And the last pair, they go a little higher than I like them on my leg. Look, look, this is my foot. Most people, this is I size 10 women's foot, but it's long and narrow. I'm supposed to be tall. Something happened. I'm 5'2". Something unfair happened. I don't know what. And I have long fingers too. Oh, you should be a piano player. All my life, I play piano badly. This is one of my colorways that is yet unnamed. And lots of flashing and pulling, which I normally am not into, but I like it in this. So, there's my box. It's got 5 pairs of socks, if you count the ones on my feet, the ones in the wash, 3 in here. But it's about to have 6 and 7. So excited. So excited. Okay, to use phrase from Bunny from She's Not Knitter. So let's look at what I'm currently working on. I can just dig it out of here. Reaching over here, my boarding house reach. Let's start with socks. So interesting. You love knitting socks. I was not a sock knitter until I met Fish Lips Kiss Heel, because the flap and gusset was not happening in my life. I tried, I failed. I failed, I failed again. I like to knit my socks 2 at a time. I've gone cuff down, toe up, doesn't matter. I'm cool either way. But if I'm doing them cuff down, I tend to do them 1 at a time. I don't get suck and sock syndrome, and it does seem to go by faster. But then it's just 1 sock and you have a hoe. I prefer fully finished object. This, I'm not going to show you the front because there is a picture out there of part of the front, but this is actually a design that I'm working on, and I have the same problem it has. I don't know what to do about the heel because I use the Fish Lips Kiss heel, but it's a paid for pattern, and because of that I can't incorporate it into my work unless I say, well, go on, get the Fish Lips Kiss heel. Which, you know, I mean, that's obviously an option, it's $1, but I also don't want to, some people don't like it, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to do about it. It's one of those things. I've thought about doing a German short row heel. She did one. I've been playing with them. I'm not there yet. I love German short rows. I've used them a lot, but not in sock heels. But this is on my Blusher Veil base, Blusher Veil colorway. There's a little bit of stellene in there. You can't really see. It's very well applied. And it doesn't show up as well in this color as it does in some of the other colors. You really need a good contrast for your stellene to show up. So I snitched this out of my stash when I was actually testing this color on the stellene base. And I'm doing these 2 at a time, toes up, size 1.5. I kind of wish I'd use size 1 for these. Normally with a 2-ply yarn I would use size 1.5, but almost feels like it's a little summery thin, which is good. But if I was going to do more of a wintry, then I'm going to want to switch to a size 1 for these. And still probably get over 30 stitches on each side. I don't know. And I'm doing a 1x1 twisted rib at the top. And then my other pair, and this is because of my friend Julie. Julie got us in Ravelry. This is in my Fine Wine colorway. Wine is spelled W-H-I-N-E. My friend Julie said, 2x2 rib, most comfortable socks I've ever made. So I made a pair of 2x2 rib. She's right. Fish Lips Kiss heel. Actually, I did the pearl side a little differently. One of the suggestions from one of the ladies in the Fish Lips Kiss heel socks therapist group, and it worked out very, very well. I just did toes up and I started my ribbing on the front but not the back, and then when I passed the 1-inch mark past the Fish Lips Kiss heel, I started the ribbing 2x2. I probably have another couple inches to go, but I don't like my socks too long. I prefer to have not super shorty socks, but a little shorter than like crew, a little taller, a little bit of a leg, but not too much leg. Unless I'm in boots. And then you can't see my socks, I might as well just have anything on, right? Right. And this is these are both. This is in a Dancing Sheep bag, and this bag, I got this at a fiber retreat a few years ago, at a knitting retreat a few years ago, and I haven't can't remember who made it. And there's no tag. It's one of my favorite little bags, so it's got little strawberries on it. It's really cute. And then another dancing sheet bag. I have my Shopal Wool Zebra Ball sock. This is a gradient yarn, and I am not into it. I went top down, turned the heel, and my almost 17-year-old said, I love that! And I said, that's great, and by Christmas you'll have a pair of socks. I don't know why I'm not into this yarn. I love looking at it. When I was looking at it before I knit it, I was like so into it, so excited about knitting it. And it's not the feel, and it's not the, I think maybe gradient yarn is just not my cup of tea. I have one other gradient that I bought a few years ago from Twisted Fiber Arts, which I love it, but I look at it, I pet it, I think about what I'm going to make it into, and I don't do anything with it. But it can just sit there in my stash and be beautiful. I'm okay with that. It's all right. This is beautiful, but I'm just not into knitting the sock. I don't know why. I have found that knitting stockinette just around and around and around and around and around and around socks makes them seem like they go forever, and especially, he's a size 11 foot, and as you can see, I'm like 3 inches into the foot, maybe 2.5. It's going to take me forever to knit down to this toes, do the toe decrease, and then Kitchener, which is my least favorite thing to do to a toe. I don't know why. I just ordered new needles last night from the Loopy U to do my Kitchenering with. We'll see. Because I had one, I dropped it, and then it got vacuumed up. Yay. Me. My other projects. I always have multiple projects going on. Like 5 or 6. Which is why I don't knit like Mina from the Knitting Expat. You know, she knits 5 pair of socks. I have 1 sock. She knits a 3K. I knit a half a mile. 3K is 3.2 miles. Or 5K. 5K is 2.2 miles. She knits 5K. Excuse me. I know better. I used to be a runner and will be again. That was the sound. Excuse me. And now there's yarn everywhere. I'm recording. I can't get that off. Can you get that? Obviously, this part's been cut out. That was the sound of my my hand lotion. My lotion. Jasmine Vanilla body lotion from Bath and Body Works. Falling. It's not a plug. I just love the smell of that. Again, my friend Julie got us. I have to get more of this tea that Kristen sent me. This is the Spice Dragon Red Chai caffeine-free herbal tea. It's fabulous. I mean, I've been waiting for the podcast to open it and drink it. Finally able to do it. Although I drink out of my giraffe mug every single day. Again, giraffes. So cool. And I've tried to dye a giraffe colorway, but I'm useless. That's just not something I can get. Alright, what else is on my needles? Okay. Currently I'm doing 2 shawls. Except I think I'm going to save my lipstick. I mean, it's not like I wear a lot of it. So, oh, honestly. I can't even blame that on cats. I'd like to, but Yaps just walked the other way. Bye, Yaps! I don't have any beef jerky. Yaps eats beef jerky. I've never met a cat that will eat human food, and Yaps is like insistent upon it. Okay, so going along with my I can't follow pattern. Initially I got this. This is a Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Dahlia colorway. And I believe I got it from the Loopy U. No, I got it from the Loopy U. I only buy yarn online from a couple places. Unless it's an indie dyer. And I was going to make it into a Greetings from Penang shawl from Kristen from Foolin Yarns, but I just decided instead, and this is showing up much more red, it's the light outside is changing. This is really like a wine Cabernet color. I just decided to make a garter stitch shawl with lots of lacy holes, yarn over at each end, just to wear something, because I like my shawls to wrap around my shoulders when it's air conditioning, something light, airy, and yet warm enough for air conditioning, because it gets so cold. Not just to wear as a decorative piece, but to really keep myself warm in the summer when I go into an air-conditioned space. I have air conditioning at home, but because I have dye pots going, it's usually warm in my kitchen anyway. I'm used to wear a little bit warm. So I'm working on that, and that's taking me longer than I thought, because garter stitch I'm finding is easy and mindless and boring. A little bit as I knit, I like a little bit of decoration. But lastly, and this is what I'm really excited about, I got 2 skeins of this yarn to test it out from my supplier, because you can buy 2 skeins sometimes. And it's a 3-ply merino superwash, and I like it. I'm not sure I'm going to stock it, but I like it for myself. And this, again, is in the Blusher Veil colorway. It happened to dye up 3 skeins of Blusher Veil, and it was that skein and these 2 at the same time. And I'm doing a sort of Maria Monska's lattice shawl, but I'm doing it with a spine. She does make ones. And I changed up the pattern just a little bit because, like, never followed a pattern perfectly. I just knit to my own taste. But I'm going to definitely do her edging to a T, because that's what I'll do. And I've kind of married it with Garter Love from Jen Lucas from Sock Yarn Shawls, which is, I've knit before and I love it. I knit it actually out of a Madeline Tosh Pashmina, which is a sport weight yarn. So this is the first time I'll have it in a fingering weight yarn. There's only one problem, and I don't know, I should probably look it up on Ravelry, but I seem to have rowed, I don't know, is it possible to row out if it's not a purl side? I row out, I've got a wider area. I don't know if that will come out in the blocking or not. I've had it happen before, and it did come out in the blocking if I didn't block it too aggressively, but I'm a little nervous about it. I don't know if I was loose on my gauge there. My gauge tends to be pretty consistent. It's like the only thing my knitting really has going for it is my gauge, because it sure isn't following the pattern. So anyway, I have 2 skeins of this, so when I finish this skein with the repeats of that, I will do this for the knitted border. And I'm remembering what she said, 50% of the shawl is the knitted border. Don't get discouraged. So I'm hanging on that. So I'll switch at the end and just do the border. So it's sort of an ode, but more than an ode. It's a combination really of the 2 patterns together. So that's currently what's on my needles, except for this bag is, I don't remember where I got this. I know I got the Loopy U, but I don't remember who makes this bag. It's got Paris stuff on it. I don't know why I like Paris on the inside. The calico bush. It's right inside, yeah, doof. Anyway, this is my, again, don't like the make ones. This is my tubularity with a difference. There's a spine. 2 pairs of sock, 1 single sock, 2 shawls, and that tubularity cowl, which I just don't care how long I make it. I don't care if I'm like buried here in it. If it's a cold winter day, I want cowl. Didn't want a cowl. I want a cowl. We buried in knitwear. I want to look like a knitwear circus. I mean, that's just where I want to be. That makes me happy. So let's move on to sewing. I don't have anything I've sewn recently because the most recent thing I've sewn I don't have anything for sewing this week. Next week, I will have something for sewing because my son, Zach, wants to be a fashion designer or stylist, and he's very, very good. He is going to be home next week. It's spring break for them, so we're going to sew. We have our sewing machines ready to go. We know what we're going to make already, so I'll have something for sewing for you next week. Yes! So excited. I have a wonderful fabric that I put down and now I can't find. Because that's how I roll. I know what was here a second ago is like my mating call. Is that TMI? Alright. Let's talk about acquisitions. That's really bugging me over that fabric one. What on earth did I do with it? I just lost my ever-loving mind. Altogether. That's gonna fuck me nuts. I'm gonna be editing this podcast for a month. Okay. Hey, I found the top of my lipstick, and that's a stretch. Okay. So, now let's get on to acquisitions of the yarny and knitty kind. Okay, last night I did put an order into the Loopy U. I was on a yarn fast because I have more stash than I know what to do with. But as I have knit, my tastes changed, and I'm now knitting outside my comfort zone as far as colors and things go, because I can knit. I'm fast enough knitter to knit for gifts, which makes me happy. And I will never stop buying other people's yarn because I don't want to dye someone else's yarn. I want to dye my yarn. I want my colorways, not somebody else's colorways. So any resemblance to anyone else's colorways is accidental, trust me. That said, I'm not going to go through every yarn dyer's colorways to make sure I'm not close to them, because I really dye solids and semi-solids with some variegated yarns that I'm very happy with. There are a lot of variegated yarns that have been gifted away to other people who like them, but I don't. So, acquisitions. So, my first one I've been holding on to with the T and not casting it in onto anything, and I don't know what to do with it because it's so scrummy and gorgeous. It is Foolin Yarn's Black Pearl, and it was when she first introduced Black Pearl. Last fall, maybe? And it is the most beautiful colorway, even with a stray cat hair or two in it. They're my cats, not hers. And it is the most beautiful colorway, and the stellina the gold stellina just pops. And this particular yarn is such, I believe she gets her yarn where I get mine, based on her descriptions. Lots of us do. It's okay. I'm not giving anything away when I say that we probably share suppliers, because we probably do. But this particular stellina yarn is incredibly soft and supple to knit with, and it is a joy to knit with. And her, you know, to get this stellina pop, you have to be careful how much dye you're putting in. I personally haven't had stellina eat my citric. I know people have. I dye with citric. I know she does too. But you know, it might be your water. I don't know. But for some reason, her stellina comes out beautifully in this colorway. You can really see it shine. I mean, I have to go pretty dark to get mine shine. I have to go darker colors lightly placed to get mine to shine like that. So it's a really excellent dye job. all the way around, and it is a beautiful yarn. I have other yarns of hers, but they're either discontinued colorways or they're one of a kinds. So this is the one I really want to show off. It is worth stocking her shop for. And now she's got lovely ball bands. She just showed them off on Instagram the other day, and they'll be they're beautiful. They're very simple and elegant, like she is. So jealous of her. Wish again. I wish I'd been that together when I was her age. Another stockable yarn dyer, and she's local, and I've been to shows, and she's always sold out of the colorways I want, or somebody will literally reach in my basket and grab a color. I mean, I've literally had baskets. Color fabric. I've literally had yarn taken out of a basket by somebody at a yarn show from this person. Not her, obviously. This is dyed by Fiber Story. She's local in Michigan, outside of Detroit, which could mean anywhere between there and Ann Arbor. I don't know exactly where she is, and that's okay. I'm not that interested in stalking anyone. I got this at the Loopy U. I had to actually go to Colorado, not go to Colorado, but send to Colorado for yarn dyed in Michigan. This is her Bougainvillea colorway on her Fave Sock base, which is 100% superwash merino, 400 yards, 2 plies, 100 grams, and Bougainvillea, it's like a yellow-green with hints of pink. And this is the worst color for my skin tone in the universe. And I don't care. I love it. I have 2 skeins of it. I don't know what it's going to be. Something precious. Something gorgeous. Something perfect. Now, remember I told you I initially bought the Dahlia colorway for the Greetings from Penang shawl from Foolin. I decided no. This came from Eat Sleep Knit. This is Charged Cherry from Dream and Color Smooshie with cashmere. 20% cashmere. 10% nylon. 400 yards. 70% superwash fine merino. And this is showing up so freaking orange on this monitor. And it is a blood red colorway. I mean, it is like the deepest, almost, it says Charged Cherry, but it's almost crimson. It's just the most gorgeous, even beautiful dye job ever. And I just am in envy and awe of Dream and Color. And of course I have this one too. This also came from Eat Sleep Knit. This is their Smooshie, which doesn't have nylon in it, so it doesn't go into socks. It's 100% superwash merino, and as you can see, I've undone it and redone it several times. But it's the Callous Pink, and I got it because of the name. Callous Pink. It doesn't care. It's callous. Love it. Love it. I have 2 skeins of this, and the gray I think would go with something really pretty that's also gray. It's almost a purple gray with the pink in it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's just gorgeous. And that actually is showing up pretty... You're kidding me. True to life. Honestly.
Calls.
Oh, this is one of those people that's like, I am from Microsoft Computers. I just have now gotten to the point of, I have an Apple. I don't, but they're not. They're lying. Don't ever pick those phones up and give them any of your information. I mean, everybody should know that, but not everybody does. So there you go. Information you probably already had, didn't need to know. Okay, I found my fabric. So this, I'm going to make a project bag with my son Zach next week. And this is the outside of the bag, or going to be the outside. Actually, I'm more than I don't intend to make project bags anytime soon. It's not really, but he likes to do things like that. So it's very Parisian ephemera from the 50s. It's got, you know, very 1950s sort of a look to it. Sort of, I traveled to Paris, je hauts Paris, and then French words and stamps and postage marks. And then I just thought that this blue Kona cotton fabric, which is right here, stay, would be perfect for the inside of the bag. Maybe a pocket on the front. Maybe a pocket with a cutout with one of the flowers or something on it. I don't quite know, or an applique. I don't know quite. My mother-in-law has a sewing machine that embroiders. This thing does everything. Maybe I'll take it over there and embroider something. I don't know. Could do a lot of things with it. We're going to have fun next week. He's probably made plans with all his friends, but really, a couple hours with Mom. Would it kill you, kid? At 17, yes. Next on needles for me is a folded poncho. I got some DK yarn on cones, just testing it, and I made 200 gram skeins out of it, which I will never do again. It's a lot of yarn to dye up at once and make even all the way through. What a pain in the toes that was. Dumbest idea ever, even with the big pot. But I made this Plumberry Crumble colorway, which I love. It's very plummy, very beautiful. Even I do say that myself. It's got some darkness to it, it's got some grays to it. It's very lovely. It's just a fun colorway. I'm going to make a folded poncho, just something simple and chic that I can wear. And this color goes with almost everything in my wardrobe. I mean, my wardrobe consists of mostly black or gray skirts and white, black, or gray t-shirts with the occasional pop of color thrown in. I usually go to my knitwear for color or my scarves for color because I wear scarves. I still dress up to fly too. My mother was a stewardess. 1958, she was a stewardess, not a flight attendant, stewardess. And you know, you dressed up to fly in my family, and you still do. My dad is 93 years old, and we fly and we dress up. So if I'm going to travel, yeah. But the good news is I often get into first class. When I was traveling for work, before the kids' issues became really apparent, and it became apparent that somebody had to stay home all the time, it made sense for me to do it because my husband is a computer genius, and cherished and very good at his job, and just blows me away every single day with his knowledge. I mean, I just want to throw a thing across the room. I don't even think I'd have a computer if it wasn't for my husband. That's how pathetic I am. That's how much of a luddite I am. Like, where's the cord to the phone? I mean, you know, I mean, I'm like a cord cutter. I still have cable, but I watch almost all my television shows on the computer now. But that's a huge step forward for me. Even though we met on a dial-up bulletin board before the World Wide Web was the World Wide Web, back when it was just the internet. And I was dial-up modem, and it was a dumb terminal. If you were on the internet in the early 90s, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Okay. That brings me to this week's shop update. Now, I am going to talk a little bit after the shop update, but if this was the first time joining me, and it has to be because I've never done this before, although I've made other videos, not about yarn. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the podcasters that have emboldened me and the people that have encouraged me. Just the raw guts that I've seen people put their stuff out there, and just the gracious gratitude and thankfulness that these podcasters have. I wanted to be a part of that family on some level, and doing a podcast has been in my wheelhouse for a very long time. I've started it 100 times. I finally had the nerve to follow through, and I'm glad I did. So thank you, and I hope you join me next week. Next week it'll be Thursday. This is a Friday. This is April 1st. Opening April Fool's Day was a huge deal for me because I am a silly person. I am a... Hi, Angel. There's a cat over here. Hi, Angel Trees. There's my angel boy. You want to be on camera? Oh, beautiful. There, I'm one of those cat ladies. There he is. I'm actually not a cat lady. There he is, my angel pants. We adopted Angel when We don't know how old Angel is. The vet guessed between 2 and 6. He's got some mouth damage. I don't think he ate actual cat food the first few years of his life. He won't eat human food now, ever, under any circumstances, ever. He's just a, no thank you. Cat food, please. Thank you very much. So, he is an awesome cat. He is a big cat. He's a big boned boy. But he's my love. So lately he's been sleeping in Zach's bed. Well, my feet appreciate the room. I miss him. I really do. Okay, the shop update for tonight. Let's see if I can do this. Alright. I told you I dye a lot of semi-solids and tonals. And this is, and they're not perfectly wrapped right now. This is Breathless Peach on my Lake Michigan sock, which is a 4-ply sock. It's 75% merino, 25% nylon or polyamide. It's light. It's a fingering yarn, and it's a 4-ply twist that is, it's really strong, and really recommend this for socks. I like it on size 1 needles. And I just love the way that this colorway, just the peach and the blushed pink, and then just one of those colorways that you get and you have to dye it again right away to make sure you got it perfectly the first time. My next colorway is Through the Enchanted Door. And I almost call this Everybody Does It, because everybody has some version of this mix of colors, but no two are alike. I mean, what other people dye isn't what I dye, and we use different base colors, but the mixture of sort of the purpley to the azure to the darker blue is just beautiful. It's mesmerizing, and this has got some stellina in it, deeply plied. This particular colorway, you see the stellina as you knit it up more than, it does show in the pictures, but you see it as you knit it up more than you can see it just here on the camera. My next one is a fine wine, and this is my, okay, this is Lake Superior sock. This is Stars Over Manitou Gold. There's also Stars Over Manitou Silver. Manitou Islands, Lake Superior. You getting a theme here for what I'm naming my bases? Yes, Spring Lake, Michigan. This is a fine wine on Spring Lake silk sock. It's 50% silk, 50% merino. And while it is a superwash yarn, you'll ruin the silk. You really shouldn't wash silk in a washer, and never dry in a dryer. Ever. My next colorway, and I have this on my Lake House DK, named after my friend Julie Goddess. Her business is Lake House Loft, so I decided to name my DK yarn after Julie. Lake House DK, and this is Java Jive, and it has little speckles of, this is not a tweeted yarn, this is just speckles that are put on when the dye is actually mixed. So it's just a darker version of one of the colors that I used to make this color, and this is a fun color to make because I use different colors to cancel it out to make it a more taupe, because I wanted the perfect taupe, and I found the perfect taupe was made by using colors that cancel one another out to give you the taupe. And this it's got a coffee kind of a look to it. It's showing up more purple. It's definitely got a purple undertone. But there are little bits of flashes of darker color in here, which are supposed to be the Java beans. So I have it in DK. I have 4 skeins in the DK. They actually match, so that's kind of fun. And then I have some on my Lake Michigan sock, which is 2-ply, 80% merino, 20% nylon, superwash, 400 yards. back to Julie again. Lake Superior sock, Julie B. Jubilee. Julie B. And that is just blowing out on camera. I can't. The light from the windows. There we go. That's closer. It's really a rose with a slight tangerine undertone. I'm not going to show you everything I'm putting up because we don't. I'm putting up lots of things. This is on my MCN base, which is my Isle Royale fingering. Isle Royale isn't like Superior, and the funny story is we conned Canada out of Isle Royale. We said you can have all the other islands, just not this one. There's nothing really there except a few wolves left and a lot of moose, which are very dangerous. More dangerous than the wolves. But Isle Royale fingering is my MCN merino cashmere nylon, and I'm careful with my cashmere because cashmere can be over. They can grow too many goats in an area and it can denude the forest in the area because goats will eat everything. I've had goats, they'll eat everything. And I love my goats. But this is colorophobia, and the reason it's called colorophobia, there's my tattoo with my children's names on them. The reason it's called colorophobia is I'm afraid of clowns. Honest and truly, I am afraid of clowns. I mean, like LL Cool J's character on NCIS LA got nothing on my fear of clowns. And the funny thing is my cousin's a clown for a living. Sorry, Bobby. I love your balloon animals, just not so much into the red nose. Kind of scares me. Don't know why. It has nothing to do with it. That clown was laughable. The spider was funnier. The first version, the movie version. And then I also have Jessie's Garden. This is my grandmother Jessie. It's very similar to colorophobia, except it's got more orange tones, green tones, pink tones. It really looks like my grandma's garden. Jessie was my grandmother. I also named one of my dogs Jessie after my grandmother went and had a dog. And this is going to be on Lake Michigan sock and the Isle Royale fingering. Wait. This colorway is a beautiful green. It's broken. It's 3 different broken dyes, which you get. A lot of people. I love to break dye colors up. I love to break them in their component parts and get the fun. It's just 3 different colors that I soak the skeins in citric and I put them in a citric acid bath with hot water. Obviously I do it on superwash, not non-superwash yarn, and I break the colors by sprinkling them over the top and letting them rest onto the yarn as I twist it around in the pots. It's time consuming, but it's so much fun to watch the colors break. I do 3 different broken colors, and this is the first Saturday in April, and it's one of my absolute favorites. It is a gorgeous, 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 like all the colors of the woods green, and it's blowing out, and there's some speckles of red where one of the dyes break in it. And I just love that about it. It's more fun than a box of socks. Well, really nothing's more fun than a box of handmade socks, but it's almost more fun than that. I told you I was a writer. This is also an Isle Royale fingering. I also have this across all my bases, all of my fingering weight bases that I have in stock currently. I don't have any singles right now. I'm getting some in tomorrow. I couldn't believe it when it said it was shipped on Saturday, but I was like so excited. So I don't have to be home Monday exactly the right time. I take the kids to go do something. It's kind of cool. Because who wants to leave a big box of yarn on your doorstep for all the neighbors to go, what's that big box on your doorstep? This is Nom de Plume. It is grays, wine, and light pink tones. It is not similar to Love Song. I thought it was a lot like Love Song from Foolin when I first dyed it. I was a little concerned because I don't want to copy anyone else, and it was not my intention to do that, but it's not. It's more purplier than hers, which is good. That's a good thing. Very good thing. And the last one, this is on Spring Lake Silk, which is 50% silk, 50% merino fingering, white sock yarn. I wouldn't make it into socks, but there you go. They'd be strong. This is called Stolen Souls. It's a gray color. It's a darker gray than it's showing here. This is really blowing it out. Lights coming from behind me. It was supposed to be cloudy. It's not. And I think that's all I'm going to show you for now. The rest will be in the shop update tonight at 6. Yay! And everything gets shipped out Monday and Tuesday. Not that I expect to sell a dang thing today, next week, the week after that, next few weeks. It's okay, man. It's good. I planned for this business to take a while to build. That's okay. It took me forever to get to the point where I was confident enough to die and put it out there. And I wouldn't even post pictures of my stuff on Ravelry because I was like, I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough. You know what? Some of it wasn't. When I first started, I had some major successes and some horrible failures. I mean, just embarrassed failures, and more greens than green goddess dressing. I'm just green. My friend Julie said, burgundy, more burgundy shows we do it. Everybody gets the color, they just dye over and over. One more yarn I want to show you because this is so much fun, because all of these yarns, the names have meaning, and as I go along, the story behind the yarn color will be written down and put on the website, and then it'll come along with the yarn as sort of the first time, if you buy it for the first time, and then that color for the first time in the database, then I'll send you the story. This is highlighter on the wall. One of my children decided that they could draw highlighters on the wall and hit it with a black light and see what happens. Yeah, they did, and it does. But these are highlighter colors, and they the purple is slightly fluorescent, the yellow is slightly fluorescent, and then there's lots of white areas. I do have some that are more peach in tone. Those are oaks, and they will go up as such probably next week, not this week. Unless, of course, you love the peach tones, and then we'll keep that. I am open to doing what I love and sharing it, and if you like it, that's great, and we'll work accordingly. So that's it for this week for what is going to be in the shop. I did my thank yous. My blah blah blahs are, I have to go because I have a shop opening tonight and I'm very nervous and I have to edit this thing. I'm not good at looking at myself on camera and doing edits. I really stink at it. I'm kind of nervous about that. Such is life. It's okay. You know, we all get to be 52 years old at some point, and that doesn't mean you're not supposed to be on YouTube or useless or you're not funny or interesting, or that's okay. I am who I am, and I like that person. It took a long time to say. Thank you to everyone who's inspired me. I will plug you all until the day I die without expecting a thing, because what you've given me is just tremendous. And I'm all emotional because I get that way, I'm an emotional girl. But I'm not really a girl though. I'm a real woman. Any questions? As soon as I get the shop open, I'll open the Ravelry site for the shop. In the meanwhile, there is a Ravelry site for the Goat Rodeo Fiber Fiesta. I've done nothing with it, but it's there. And I'm going to open it up tomorrow, Saturday the 2nd, for more interesting things. That is when I'm not at powwow. This weekend in Ann Arbor, we have a Moonlight Festival going on for Fool's Day, a Fool's Festival. There's a hoop, I hula hoop, and I'm actually pretty good for an old broad. I mean, I have a lot of hula hoops, and I do a lot of tricks, and I have a lot of fun with it. My son hula hoops with me, one home, and we just love it. And they're having a hooping thing tonight. And tomorrow's supposed to be raining all day, but powwow is going on, and that will be in at my kids' high school of all the things. So it's awesome. That's going to be their dances for Mother Earth. And I love going to powwow. If you can see the stick straight here, you might understand why I like going to powwow so much. There's a reason. I love the drums and the dancing and watching the dancing. I love the intertribal dances. That's when everyone can go out and dance. If you're at a powwow and you hear it's time for your intertribal dance, everyone can go on the floor and dance, and it's not a competition then. The rest of it's competition, and they practice for months and months and months and years, and those costume, or the regalia, they're not, this regalia is so, the regalia at powwows is so incredibly beautiful and so fun to look at. There's so much wonderful tradition from so many tribes. The drums groups, the drum circle groups are beyond amazing to listen to. I could go to powwow more often than I do and be happy. It's a happy place for me. Next week the kids are off school. We have some things planned. I'm meeting up with a couple other dyers on Tuesday night to talk about what we do, and that'll be fun. So have a great week. I'll talk to you next Thursday. If you watch me this week, if you're not, watch me next week, and if you don't, I'm okay with that too. I really am not going to be like watching YouTube stats. I do reply to comments, and I reply to questions for the most part. Some things are too personal. You know that. Although I'm kind of an open book. In the meantime, have a great time knitting, sewing, spinning, and enjoying fibery awesomeness, because fiber is fun and joyous and frustrating, tangly, and life. Everything you do, whether you crochet, and I do crochet, I forgot to tell you that, with fiber, I think is magical. I love people that take care of their sheep, treat them with honor and love, and let them live long, healthy lives. And I look for that in my supplier, that they source responsibly. It's important to me. I hope it's important to you. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you for watching. And enjoy April Fool's Day. If you haven't played a trick on somebody, think of something fun, but not mean. I once hid my best friend's car. I don't think he ever forgave me for that. He's gone now. It was fun though. Yeah. Have a great April Fool's Day. Have a great April, and I will see you next week.